Hello again. In this tutorial, you will learn how to create a Google Slides flipbook for any occasion, such as get to know all about the teacher or any subject or topic. To get started, you must start with rectangular shapes that will represent your flip pages. In order to do so, you must go to the Insert menu at the top of your screen and then select the Shape menu and then select the rectangle shape. Once you have it, you can make your flipbook pages as wide as you want. I'm going to use the whole slide for this flipbook. Once you have your first flipbook page, you can then copy it into as many pages as you need for your flipbook. In this case, I'm going to make 4 copies of this rectangle. So I can do so in 2 ways. I can right-click on the rectangle, choose copy, right-click again, and click paste. Or I can easily do so by selecting the rectangle, pressing Ctrl+C to copy, and then pressing Ctrl+V on your keyboard to paste. Now that I have my 4 additional flipbook pages, I'm then going to place them where I want them on the slide, one on top of the other. I'm also going to make the top flipbook page a little bit longer than the other ones because this will be my title. As you can see, my top page is behind the first flap of the flipbook. So in order to bring it to the front, I'm going to click on it. I'm then going to click on Arrange menu at the top, then Order, and then click Bring to Front so that it'll be on top of the first flap. I'm then going to rearrange my flipbook pages, one on top of the other, how I want them. Once I have my flipbook pages set, I am then going to give each page a different color to differentiate between the different flipbook pages. So I'm going to click on my title page, which is the top page, and click on the Fill in Color tool. I'm then going to select a color, and I'm going to do the same for the rest of the pages. Once I have selected a color for each of the pages, I'm then going to start with my title page. I am going to insert a title using the Word Art tool found in Slides. To do so, you must go to the Insert menu, then select Word Art. I'm going to type in my title, and click Enter. As you will see, the title will appear in plain gray letters. To make your title pop, you can insert color into it by using the Fill Color tool at the top menu. I can go with a solid color or I can use a gradient. In this case, I'm going to use a gradient, which will allow me to combine 2 colors to make it bright. I'm then going to select Custom at the bottom, and I'm going to click on the first square on the scale to choose my very first color. Then I'm going to choose the second square at the end of the scale to choose the second color. I can then click the Add button here in order to move through the scale to select how much of the purple I want at the top and how much of the yellow I want at the bottom of the title. Once I have the gradient I want, I'm then going to click OK. As you can see, the gradient has been added to my title. Now I'm going to change the font by selecting from the font menu. I will now change the size of the title by pulling from one of the corners to make the title bigger. I'm then going to move it over. I will then personalize it by bringing in a Bitmoji from my Bitmoji extension. Once I have inserted my title and my Bitmoji, I can then continue to work on the rest of my flipbook pages. The next step would be to insert a title for each of the flipbook pages. I can continue to use a word art title like I did for the title of my flipbook, but in this case, I'm just going to use a regular text box. I'm going to click on the Insert menu, choose Text Box, and then draw the text box on the next flipbook page. I'm going to center my title and change the font and the size. I'm then going to fill in the titles for each of the pages on my flipbook. Once I have the first title, I can then use the same text box and make copies of it for the rest of the flipbook pages. I can do so by clicking on the text box, then using the Control-C buttons to copy, and then Control-V to paste 3 more times. I will then place each of the text boxes in one of the flipbook pages. Make sure they are aligned, and then I'm going to change the titles. Once I have added the titles for each of the flipbook pages, I am then going to add 4 slides, one for each of the flipbook pages. So I can insert slides in 2 ways. I can go to the insert menu and then go all the way down to new slide to insert. Or I can right click on the slides view on the left hand side and select new slide. The next step is to add the background color for each slide that matches the flipbook page that it will be linked to. I'm going to delete these titles by clicking on them and then pressing the delete button on my keyboard. I can then add the background color by clicking on the background button at the top menu, choosing the color blue to match the second flipbook page. I will then do the same with the rest of the slides. The next step is to link each of these titles to correspond to the correct slide that it will be linked to. To do so, I'm going to highlight the very first title and I'm going to right click and select link. I am then going to choose the slide in this presentation because I'm going to link this flipbook page to the second slide in this presentation. So once I click slides and presentation, I will then choose slide 2 and click apply. Now this title will be linked to the second slide in this presentation. I will then do the same for the rest of the slides. I will highlight the title, right click on the title, select link, slides in this presentation, and then choose slide number 3 and then click apply. Once you are done linking each of the flipbook title pages to the corresponding slide, you can then change the color of the titles to make them brighter by selecting the title, and in this case, we're going to change the text color. Once I have added color to each of my flipbook page titles, I am then going to group all the pages together so that they will not be moved out of place. I can do so by clicking on the very first page and then pressing the shift button on my keyboard while I select the rest of the pages one by one. I am then going to go to the Arrange menu at the top and select Group. Once I have done so, all the pages will be grouped together. So if you try to move the pages around, they will all move together. Once your flipbook pages have been grouped, you can then group the rest of the titles, including the Bitmoji, to the flipbook so that they will not be moved around. And you can do so by clicking on the grouped flipbook, then pressing the Shift button on your keyboard and selecting all the titles, including your Bitmoji. Once you have selected everything, then once again, you will click on the Arrange menu at the top and select the Group option. So now everything has been grouped together and will not be moved out of place. The next step is to create a button to insert in each of the rest of the slides that will lead back to the main flipbook page. To do so, we will need to go to page 2. To create the button, we must go to the Insert menu and select the shape. In this case, I'm going to use a rounded rectangle to create my button. I'm then going to insert the shape at the bottom of the slide to create my button. Once the shape has been inserted, I'm then going to change the fill-in color by clicking on the Fill Color tool at the top. I will then double-click inside of the shape to type in the word Next. I will then double-click on the text, align it in the center, and change the font, size, and color of the text. Once the button is created, I will then link it back to the main flipbook page so that every time that they visit one of the sub flipbook pages, they will then go back to the very beginning to click on the next sub page. So I will do that by selecting the button, right-clicking on it, selecting the link option, and then choose the slides in this presentation option. Again, I'm going to link this button to slide number 1, which is our main flipbook page. I'm then going to click apply. And as you can see, slide number 1 has been linked to this button. So every time that I press on this button, it's going to redirect me back to slide number 1, which is our main flipbook page. I'm then going to take this button, position it where I want it, and I'm going to copy it by right-clicking on it, clicking the copy option, and I'm then going to copy this button onto each of the rest of the slides because I want them to do the same thing. Every time that they visit one of the slides, they are then going to be redirected back to the main page to go to the next subpage in your flipbook. Once I am done with the buttons, I am then going to start filling in all the information for each of the slides. I can include pictures, I can include videos, I can include Bitmojis, or anything that I want my students to know about me. Once I am ready to present to my students, I can then click on the Present button at the top. And from here, I can start by presenting the slide that has all my family information by clicking on the My Family title. It'll then take me to the slide that we linked for this flipbook page. Once I am done reviewing the information here, I'm going to click on the next button and it'll take me back to my main flipbook page. I will then go to the next page in my flipbook by clicking on the next title for my favorites. And as you can see, it took me to the corresponding slide. Once I am done presenting here, I'm then going to click next again, and I will then keep presenting and keep going back and forth through my flipbook. Once I am done presenting, I can click exit, and there you have it. So remember that if you need to add more pages to your flipbook, you can do so at the beginning by making more copies of the first rectangle that you create. Remember that you can use this flipbook to share information with your students about any subject or any topic. You can also assign it through the Google Classroom by making sure that you make a copy for each student. If you enjoy creating this flipbook template with me and would like a copy of it, look for the link in the description section below this video. And that is it. Thank you for watching.